Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome once again to Mod Talks. This is our third episode, Defining Luxury. My name is Nikki Hill Albert, and I will be your host for this afternoon. And this episode is going to be very exciting as we will be featuring our very first set of women industry pillars. I am very excited because this is a personal request of mine. And I know you all are very excited to be hearing more from from these brilliant women. Now, apart from just a brief background as to why I keep hosting this thing. Okay. Now, apart from my being a design enthusiast, prior to the pandemic, I was actually enrolled as an interior design student. I was enrolled in PSID for a second course, working on finishing my final year, but such is life. And so this pretty much explains why I'm always so excited to do these interviews and to pick the brains of just these awesome guests that we have for Mod Talks. I also happen to be a proud owner of a Scavolini kitchen, which was designed in collaboration with Modularity Home, whom we have to thank for this rare opportunity to speak with our design idols. Now, before that, for those of
Yeah.
you who are watching Mod Talks for the first time, allow me to give you kind of a brief background about Modularity Home. So Modularity Home was established in 2010. So they are the exclusive distributors of luxury Italian home brands such as Cavallini, Valcucine, Bianca, and Elica. And they focus on modular cabinetry systems that they started with kitchens, which is, as we all know, the heart of the home, with an expansion to living spaces, bathrooms, closets, and accessories. Basically, all the elements that go beyond the kitchen and inject soul into the home. So, about Mod Talks is a webinar series produced by Modularity Home, born out of an idea to inspire and ignite interest in style, design, and architecture. So this is a collaborative platform that we share with industry professionals to educate and contribute insights about design, architecture, style, construction, and home improvement based on their professional or personal experience. So the aim is to encourage conversation about new design concepts and innovations that would keep end users as well as fellow industry practitioners informed and engaged. So 2 episodes ago, we had architect Royal Pineda and principal designer Buji Layug. And then last episode, we had architect Ed Kalma. For today's episode, I'm very excited to have our very first women guest speakers. They will be giving their unique perspective on the evolution of luxury homes. So we will be discussing elegant materials as well as luxurious innovations and how these seamlessly integrate into the home, from kitchens and bathrooms to living rooms and wardrobe systems. So we will have time. I know this is your favorite part. We will have time to answer questions from the audience. So feel free to send them in the chat box and we'll try to address as much as we can. So just keep them coming in. Meanwhile, I'd like to introduce you to the man behind Modularity Home to give us a few words. We have with us Brian Hontiveros. Hey, Brian.
Hi, Nikki. Thank you again for agreeing to host this. It's always exciting to work with you, and it's a pleasure to, organize these things and try to understand like what can we do next to push the envelope, right? Modularity home for me is very personal. I started working for the family business doing Elba appliances, so we've always been connected to Italian brands. Um, Almost 10 years ago, my wife and I started Modularity Home because we believe that the Filipino home today can already accommodate these Italian high-end luxury brands. So it was really the right time,
Mhm.
especially now during this peculiar period. We don't want to delve on it, but a lot of people have been investing in their home,
Yeah.
and we felt like doing Mod Talks is the right channel to be able to explain our products, collaborate with designers and architects, and actually bring the information to your computer screen or to your iPad. Um, Normally, without this pandemic, I would invite Ivy and Cynthia to have coffee or lunch. I would pick their brains. Nikki, I think you remember as well. We had lunch one time in the peninsula. It's a
Yeah.
very personal thing for me. Um, right now this is the next best thing. And
Mm-hmm.
I think having an audience, sharing our insights and our conversations casually is also a nice way to keep the people engaged and interested in what we do. Today, I'm I was challenged when you asked me to invite the Almario sisters. Um, whenever I see them or I talk to them, my hands become cold because I become starstruck. Um, so I wanted to. It's really a pleasure to have you guys here.
Thank
We
you.
talked about it, and I think you guys really emulate interior design, and that's really important. A lot of people, there's a lot of ongoing discussions about doing things yourself, DIY
Mm-hmm.
projects, and personally, we've all tried that, but it really doesn't work. We
Yeah.
need experts, we need professionals, layering materials, choosing colors. It's just the tip of the iceberg. And I think today we're really going to talk about the hard work that Ivy and Cynthia put in to be able to become, the top interior designers in the country. So
Thank you.
I'll give it back to you, Nikki. Maybe you can do the formal introductions. Thank you again.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Brian.
Brian.
Okay, now I'm sure everyone's just waiting, so let's just extend let's extend this a bit longer by giving you an even longer intro. Okay, so Atelier Almario is the entire design studio headed by Ivy and Cynthia Almario. Both sisters lived and worked in LA, California for 15 years, where they started their careers and established themselves for designing high-end residences, hotels, restaurants, and even offices. And since returning to Manila, they have successfully built a practice that has made them a household name in interior design. Their work can be seen in some of Manila's busiest and most successful establishments, but it is the quality of their residential work that catapulted them to the forefront of commercial design. As the visionaries, titans, and captains of industries became so happy with how their homes turned out, the Almarios were naturally invited to extend their design alchemy towards other spaces, such as office spaces and even buildings. An Atelier Almario project is always impactful and results from their relentless pursuit in finding the best design solutions delivered in a timely fashion at the right price. So, without further ado, let us all welcome the beautiful powerhouse design duo, Miss Cynthia and Miss Ivy Almario. Hello. So great to have you both. Thank you very much for your
Thank
time.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. Our
Thank you
pleasure.
for obliging.
Oh,
Now,
looking forward to this.
I'm sure our audience members have a ton of questions, but before we give them the floor to ask those questions, I'll start with some of mine. So I'm sure I'm not the only one curious as to how you both got into design. Maybe you can kind of walk us through how this whole journey started for the both of you. Miss Ivy, maybe we can start with you.
Oh, sure. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. And first off, thank you for giving us this hour or two to hear out our thoughts. I started in interior design when actually the aha moment when I was 12 years old. I saw the
12.
12 many moons ago when 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 I saw the house of my aunt, Mirna Adriano. Tita Mirna just did a correspondence course. She did the New York School of Interior Design correspondence course. And I heard about that from my parents, but I did not understand what it meant until she renovated her house in Horseshoe. And I went in and I was awestruck. I mean, awestruck. And I said to myself, this is it. This is what I'll become. And never look back. Never look back.
Found your calling at 12.
Yeah.
Was it the same for you, Miss Cynthia, or was the story a bit more different?
A little bit more, a little different, but Ivy, Ivy went to the States when she was 20, I guess. And then I followed after I finished college. And I got so interested in what she was doing. And she actually was the one who inspired me to become an interior designer. So
But
it's
what
like a
was
full circle.
What was your undergrad what was your undergrad course, Miss Cynthia? If it was, did it have anything to do with design at all,
No,
or
mass communications.
okay,
Yeah, and then in the States,
okay.
I took some lessons in UCLA.
Wow. So I'm sure I'm not also, again, just out of curiosity. I mean, we all know that business and family aren't always the perfect mix. I mean, when you get it right, it's awesome. But sometimes it doesn't always work out. So I just wanted to know, like, how has it been working out for you both? Whose idea was it to just permanently be collaborating with each other in this field?
Actually, when we were both in Los Angeles, I was working for a different firm. It was
Mm-hmm.
only when we went back to Manila that we decided to collaborate. Ivy came back to Manila for the Manila Hotel,
Okay.
and we got another project, the Holiday Inn in Clark, Pampanga. So I went home
Mimosa.
for a while, no Ives,
Yes.
to work on that. So after that, it felt good, and we started working together.
Now we're flashing some photos here, and I just want to know. We asked this a few sessions ago. Like, what do these photos make you feel? Like when you see them, is it nostalgic? Is it post traumatic stress disorder? What is it?
Well, it's PTSD.
More stress.
No, actually, the first few slides were my renderings, and I had for 10 years, I had my own rendering studio. The first picture was the office where our office in Robertson Boulevard in Beverly Hills.
Mhm.
And the success of the practice of interior design allowed me to have a luxurious life. But at the same time, I paid such a high price because
Mhm.
I hardly had any time for myself. So
Mhm.
that was the trade-off. But then, you know, the silver lining is I got to work with the best minds in the industry, and
Mhm.
it was like a doctorate. It was like a doctorate because Howard Hirsch, Michael Bedner, they were clients.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, they were clients. So Jim Northcutt, Luis Catafo, the big names in the industry were all clients. So when you understand how they think, because remember, I was the human CAD. I was the human CAD. I
I
had to
was gonna
can
say
you imagine? I had to I had to interpret everything.
human
I,
SketchUp too.
I'm the human SketchUp, so that I understood their floor plans, I understood their elevations, I understood how they unlock the secrets of a
Mm-hmm.
space. And because I lovingly drew all of them, the output was nice. And then when I stopped renderings and did interior design, I realized, oh my God, I have mastered this craft. Thanks to all of those amazing clients who inadvertently became mentors.
It's now just second nature to you. No, I see you post videos on Instagram, manual rendering.
Yeah.
My goodness, what would take a student, obviously, months to complete in a matter of minutes, beautiful renderings. Now,
Thank
speaking
you.
of just doing everything manually, I just want to know, you've been in the industry and you've seen a transition to what it is today. Would you say it's easier, uh, like in terms of like technology and access to resources? uh, are interior designers having a much easier time these days?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, because if you yeah, there's a slide. This is for the Shangri-La in EDSA.
Mm-hmm.
This was the lobby area. For sure, because this took us days to
These
do
color boards were,
these
yes.
color boards. Yeah, because first we had to go, we were in the States, not so we would go to Pottery Barn, buy the picture frame, we would go
Mm-hmm.
to La France Imports, physically get the tiles, then we would go to Schumacher and get the fabrics. But here, like I was just working with my staff for a presentation, and we were like miles apart, and I would just say, okay, I have this peg, can you put it on the left side? I need flowers, let's just look for flowers. I need this fabric. Really, really so fast, hyper fast. But before, it was really very tedious, but
Mm-hmm.
at least it was a good learning curve for me. I really
Mm-hmm.
appreciated the fact that I did it this way, because really the learning is what's important. the
Yes.
thinking. And also, I guess, because it's really, after a while, you see the completed board and you're really very happy with the end result because there was so
Mhm.
much love, there was so much intent and passion put towards it. So yeah,
Mhm.
but you know, life is really easier now.
I was
My
gonna
interior
say
designers will attest to that because they can really finish a lot of presentations
so much
same
faster,
day.
no?
Yeah, so
Um,
much faster.
Now looking at these boards, like I'd have to check if the color boards were by Miss Cynthia or if they were by Miss Ivy. Now I just want to know, do you share the same aesthetic or do you have completely different? I mean, in terms of like what, in terms of personal preference, that is.
Um,
Would you say it's similar or go ahead, Miss Cynthia?
Very similar. Yeah,
Very
yeah.
similar.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I took care of the color boards and Ivy took care of the renderings, the ones we
Mm-hmm.
showed earlier. But basically, yeah, we have a modern-minded classic aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
So we appreciate the same things. I'm right, Ivy?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
there's
yeah,
never
yeah.
there's never been a time where it's like, no, I feel like we should go this direction, no, this direction, no, and then that
Actually, Nix, it's because we take care of different things at the studio. I take care of the interior architecture, and Cynthia
mm-hmm.
takes care of FF&E. So there's really, yeah. During installation, we're together. That's why
Mm-hmm.
we could do a lot of projects because there are distinct. Oh my God, I was pregnant with Mikey. As in the
This was in
picture.
your rendering studio.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
it
pregnant with
was
my
yeah.
second
Wow,
son.
many late nights.
Yeah,
Many
puyat,
sleepless
puyat,
nights.
puyat
Yes.
calor.
Now let's talk about your design inspirations. We kind of touched on that earlier. Design inspirations, influences, or just people who have made an impact in your design style. Can maybe Miss Ivy
Of
can
course.
start.
Sure, sure, sure. Okay, there's this French designer, Christian Diag. I really like his interior architecture. Um, I also like, sis, who said Joseph, no?
Joseph Durand.
Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, you kind of look up to them because they have such clean aesthetics. So when I see beautiful interiors and I just celebrate the industry, I'm like, I make them my friends. I'm like, go Christian, go Joseph, way to go. So
Yeah.
because we really belong to one design community.
That's right.
So yeah, so there, as you can see, the clean lines.
Mm-hmm.
I love the clean aesthetic.
How about you, Miss Cynthia? Do you have personal design heroes or?
Yeah, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. I adore Patricia Orquiola. First,
Okay.
yeah, she's a woman. And you know what I like about her is she's an architect. At the same time,
Mm-hmm.
she's a furniture designer and she's an interior designer. So it's a triple treat. So I like how she thinks outside the box. And I
Mm-hmm.
like how her designs are very tailored. My favorite hotel is Il Sereno. This is in Lake Como.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's amazing. And all the furniture that's inside are from her. And she
Mm-hmm.
also designs for Moroso, Kital, and all the other
Kita.
Italian brands, B&B Italia. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so amazing. Her colors, and it's very whimsical.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, it's very tailored. So
And
that's Il
Beautiful.
Sereno.
she doesn't repeat herself.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. So always
Yeah,
coming up with something new, which can
yeah,
be a challenge in design, diba?
yeah. And this is
always
another
ahead of
hotel in
herself.
Milan. Yeah, it's beautiful. Giglia
In,
Hotel.
in your design journey, Miss Ivy and Miss Cynthia, would you say there was a conscious effort to kind of in terms of like branding yourself, have an aesthetic that this is the Atelier Almario aesthetic, and if you want
No.
this particular design, you call us. What was that ever
Mm,
a thing for you, or were you really
no.
whatever
Quite
client? Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Miss Ivy.
quite the opposite. Quite the
Mm-hmm.
opposite. We prided ourselves that we were design chameleons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because our training in the States was, of course, we understood Beaux-Arts from Europe. We understood California proportions. We understood that. And then going back to Manila, all of a sudden it was tropical Asian,
Mm-hmm.
Asian model. So we never said no to a client. Always we rose to the occasion, because the skill set of a good interior designer is that you can really rise up to any occasion,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because principles don't ever change.
Yeah.
Space planning is space planning. Flow
Mm-hmm.
is flow. So I think a portfolio will show you our versatility. Like, this is a condo in Essenza, right, sis?
No, it's a
No, this is Ching's house. Sorry, yeah. This is a
resident.
residence. A
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
residence.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
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 Gorgeous.
And
This
we're
is
go
a Sensa condominium.
they're
Mm-hmm.
best friends. And these two ladies, their favorite color is white on white on white on white.
Yeah. Nikki, if there's a 50 Shades of Grey, we use 50
50
Shades of
Shades of
White here.
White. I love it. It's my favorite non-color.
Literally 50 Shades of White.
I love it. Which I
What?
think it's so timeless. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
if it weren't for the quality of the photos, you won't even be able to
Yes.
tell, like, I mean, it
That
might
it's
as well
been a
have been
while.
done last
Yesterday.
Yeah.
week. Yeah, turned over last month. It's so timeless, which I think is something that you can only really develop over time.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Now, okay, now since we're talking about luxury design today, I just want to know, how is luxury defined through the Atelier Almario aesthetic? I mean, just because when we throw the word luxury around, for those who aren't really, in the know in terms of like the lingo in the design industry, parang when you say luxury, there's automatically a picture of gilding and just molding galore. But like, I want to know, how is luxury defined through the Atelier Almario aesthetic? Like, how do you integrate that vision into your projects without it looking, badly put, kitschy or baduy or, ostentatious? How do you do this?
I think for us, design is really a process.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I may say so, if kung pwede natin himayin the word
Mm-hmm.
luxury, okay. Um, of course, true luxury, you have to equate it with pesos and centavos, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Because then it's we're out of integrity if we say that luxury will not cost you money. Obviously,
Yeah.
luxury will cost you money. Why? Because it's an investment.
Mm-hmm.
So, why is it an investment? Because all luxurious things are well thought of, right? They're well thought
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
of, using the best materials. You don't only use the best minds, the
Mm-hmm.
best technology, and the best materials. Of course, all of this will have a cost. You're paying for premium. Because why the premium? Because it took people decades to get there.
Mm-hmm.
The Italians spent so much on R&D. The French, or even local furniture makers here, they have to invest to come out with wonderful output. So for me, the first thing that people have to address is to get something luxurious. Please hire good designers, because
Mm-hmm.
that's the only way you could get value for money and bang for your buck,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
Because correct, right? Um, in our case, clients will call us 10 years later, 15 years later, still loving their homes. But what happened? The silk in the drapery got frayed. So now, time to change things that got frayed. But outside of that, the patina of the silver was better, the marble was better honed, the wood floors are more stunning. As it
Mm-hmm.
ages, it even becomes, like how a Mercedes Benz or a Jaguar becomes vintage. It never gets
Mm-hmm.
out of style, right? So we have to look at luxury with that lens. That's my personal answer, I think. And then Cynthia will
Mm-hmm.
talk about the aesthetics of for me naman, because I take care of interior architecture. I seriously ask them to do front spending.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on, guys. Let's just properly spend for the right stone. Let's just
Mm-hmm.
do the correct floor. Let's do this. I mean, whatever's embedded, let's go top of the line. Why? It's not because I want you to spend more. It's because you're already spending for it. We might
Yes.
as well spend correctly,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, it takes years of experience, and also a collaborative. You're always open to your suppliers. You're always learning what's out in the market. So you
Mhm.
have that. Again, your responsibility is to share this with your clients. I'm talking too
That's
much,
right.
Cynthia.
No, agree,
Oh,
definitely. It's like you get what you pay for. If
Yeah.
you
Always,
get
you get what you
you
pay
get
for.
cheap tiles, then you'll end up
Yeah,
spending double when you need to replace them.
correct.
Exactly.
Miss Cynthia,
Yeah.
go ahead. How about for you?
For me,
You'll
it's
you
because
share the same sentiments.
because we've been so long in the industry, for
Mm-hmm.
some reason we have mastered our craft. We have
Yes.
honed our skills. So really naman, our scale and proportions are right. Thanks to Ivy's incredible, amazing interior architecture.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever I put in, because even before any single furniture is inside the house, because Ivy has prepared a very beautiful and stunning interior architecture, it stands out by itself.
Mm-hmm.
So my job is easier because I
I
bring
love you.
amazing furniture. Yeah, but it's really attention to detail and quality. Because
Mm-hmm.
us kasi, what's nice about being in the Philippines is we have this big, big space. But our furniture pieces are custom made. It's very
Mm-hmm.
bespoke because the living room here in the Philippines, very, very huge. So we would
Yes.
we would really mock up, furniture pieces that really are right to the particular space. And
Mm-hmm.
we also make sure that, you know, we address all the five senses, no? The texture of the fabric. Here, I would just like to show this slide. Here, there's a lot of depths and
Yes.
layers in this living
Mm-hmm.
room because you start with the fabric, it's velvet, there's a
Mm-hmm.
sheet to it, and then we introduce a linen fabric on the drapery just to juxtapose the elements, the
Mm-hmm.
tactility of the different fabrics. And then of course we mix wood and we mix metal and we mix acrylic. So everything is really a
Wow.
play of texture, a play in scale, a play in different vignettes. So for me, luxury is being able to do this and appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
The best for us, the best comment from our clients is when they go to Aman or they go to different hotels and their kids will tell them, "Mom, let's go home na. I like my room better."
It's better than the resort.
Yeah, so parang, di ba, that's really a very, very nice compliment to hear because it really,
Yes.
it just gives us more inspiration to keep on doing what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
That's right. That's right. Which I think only just reiterates the fact that hiring an interior designer, I think if you have the budget, is not only a necessity, but I mean that in itself is a luxury. But it's like it's a practical one because all these things like Brian was mentioning earlier, the layering, the combination of materials to just have this harmony and symmetry, it's not something that you can just look up in a magazine and I'll do this. It's like it's almost like a science, right? Miss Cynthia,
Yeah,
Miss
it
Yeah,
is a
Ivy?
science.
It's
It
a
it
is
is
a
a
science.
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 It's an art
Yeah,
So
that's a science.
yeah, so
yeah,
you just can't like wing it.
yeah,
So
True.
yeah.
but
You cannot
we
figure it talaga.
True.
I'm it's getting very ano na I keep on forgetting we have an audience. Parang I want to ask all my questions. But we have time once again later on for those of you who are watching. Ask away. We'll try to answer as much as we can. Just drop in your comments and your questions in our chat box. But for now, as seen by the many projects of Atelier Almario, luxury can be seen in the most intricate details or decor. There are different colors or patterns or even in modern and minimalist designs. We're going to talk about like how modern minimalist can be luxurious still. So we will be talking about those details in a bit, but first we want to kind of get a gauge of like where audience members are at in terms of defining luxury design. So Miss Ivy and Miss Cynthia defined it for you earlier. How about you guys? What does luxury design look like to you? So, but this is, I mean, luxury can go on and on about defining this. It's not limited to a style, but I mean, we just want to know, what do you guys think? Like when you see classic, traditional, and opulent, is this luxury for you? If it's transitional or like a mix of classic and modern, is this luxurious for you? Or do you define luxury as something more modern and discreet? So yes, um, hosts and panelists cannot vote
Bawal tayo
already.
mag-vote.
So I guess
Interesting.
let's just ask. Let's start with Brian. How about you, Brian? What does luxury design look like for you?
Sorry.
Um, that's a difficult question because
Given the three choices lang, ha?
yeah, with the range of what we do, it's really difficult because we see the best of all, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, but personally, I still want it modern,
Mm-hmm.
meaning cleaner lines and less, less details.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I like cleaning things up and making sure that everything is tidy.
Yeah.
So I guess it's I think we were discussing with Ivy and Cynthia, and they told us that luxury is also very personalized, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's also related to that. So depending on what kind of person you are, luxury can be different for you.
Yeah, agreed. I would have to say the same. Yeah, definitely modern and discreet. For me, again, it's a personal preference, but for me, it's just, I feel like it's harder to do. Cleaner, it's just, I feel like it's harder to pull off.
Yeah,
So
but
that
but
for
I
me
think,
is
Nikki,
luxury.
it's also about the area of the home, right?
True,
I think like the
yeah.
living room, for example, if you entertain there, so you want it to be more sophisticated. You want to
That's
see more
right.
materials, right? But
Mm-hmm.
if it's a personal space like your bedroom, for example, or your bathroom, then maybe that
Mm-hmm.
there you can be less
Mm-hmm.
decorative, for example.
How about Miss Ivy? And this is just a personal preference, does not reflect Atelier Almario's aesthetic whatsoever. What attracts you the most?
Believe it or not, you won't believe it from the house I have now. But my next dream is to have this. I really just want it modern and discreet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'll tell you why. Because in my everyday, I see so many things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So coming home to something that's serene and uncluttered
Mm-hmm.
will just quiet my brain.
Yes.
But that's just a dream because my comfort zone is also when you go to my apartment now, it's very Californian. So, I mean,
Okay.
yeah, I go with the flow. But
That's right.
yeah.
How about Miss Cynthia?
I'm living now in my dream house.
Oh,
Thank you to
wow.
Edna Desma and Atelier Almario. Yeah.
So you would define this as, there you
Grabe.
go.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that's so
A
beautiful.
floating outdoor space.
I would love to
Pandemic
be
perfect.
quarantined in this
I
house.
know. I couldn't post. I didn't post during the pandemic because they'll say, "Where are you traveling?"
Yes. Are you in a resort? Look at that. My goodness.
This
Beautiful.
is
So
Ivy's amazing bathroom. Look at that. That's under the stairs. So it's very sexy. It's like she
gorgeous.
captured the steps.
And it's in one of the 50 shades of white
Yeah.
that Atelier Almario so loves. Let's see if we have results from do we have the results yet? Let's see if okay, all right. So
Transitional. We're the right
interesting.
designers.
Transitional or a mix of classic and modern. All right. So
Oh.
69% of our audience members, yeah, that's how they
Yes,
think.
we have the right audience.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Because we said we're
transitional.
modern-minded classic interiors. That's
Correct.
what we do. That's
True.
our tagline.
Correct.
Interesting. Well, I mean, luxury can be defined in many ways. And as Brian mentioned earlier, it really depends on the space, style, and taste, but most especially on how each functions in a certain space. So traditionally, luxury means a classic design with very intricate details and ornamentation, decoration, etc. But to some, luxury can also mean being able to combine your classic details with that modern look, or For most these days, luxury is all about minimalism. Less is more. So for this part of our webinar, we're going to be doing something a little interesting, which is this is very different from our previous episode since Modularity Home has a wide range of designs and can cater to every style. We will now be showcasing a curated selection of luxury compositions and discuss the type of client or personality that might prefer these looks. So some of you may not have seen these photos, but kind of like just to let you know that there are still people who employ these looks, and so we're gonna start with the classic aesthetic. So maybe Brian, you can walk us through this.
Sure. I think the the issue nowadays is a lot of people follow trends, right?
Mm-hmm.
But with Scavolini and the brands that we carry, and I think with Atelier Almario, it's not really about trends. It's about understanding the type of client we have and what the client really wants, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you go with trends, then after 3, 4, 5 years, then you want to change your house already.
Yeah.
So it's really about digging deep and understanding what you want as a client before you come up with something like a brief for us or for Ivy and Cynthia. So in this particular photo, this is very interesting because this is designed by Scavolini very recently. But if you look at the details, it's very classic. So
Mhm.
it's very European, but it's still subdued. It's not over the top. You see the golden doors, the glossy lacquer black with the cornice on top. So I think it's a very interesting look. It's called the Exclusiva. If you look closely, these are just they look like posts, but they're actually functional items. So you press a button, it's like you're in the Batcave. It opens up,
Wow.
Oh,
and then
wow.
you have storage in there. So it's really a mix of design and function.
Mhm.
Even the small details down in the kickboard or the plinth, you see these intricate details. Design is really important. You can only do so much with layout and things like that. But once you go into details, I think this is what makes a big difference.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Miss Ivy, Miss Cynthia, do you have a lot of clients asking for this? Recently, something as bold as gold and something as detailed as what Brian just discussed. Do you see this often or not so much?
Actually, not so much. No,
Mm-hmm.
I mean there is this is stepping up. This is classical look, but stepping it up higher, and it's more sophisticated. Because if you just change the coloration of this, if the black was just a white, and then that was just then that just becomes your regular classical looking kitchen. But this combination of
Mm-hmm.
materials is, I think, amazing because they're already taking us to the next level. This is already what's going to happen in the next 3, 4, 5 years. So yeah, we're looking at an zooped up classic
Mm-hmm.
kitchen,
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure clients will also be wanting this. Yeah.
Maybe for those of for our audience members who are not quite familiar with the particular differences in like when we say classic, transitional, and modern, maybe we can give them just like a
Sure.
brief what is
Sure.
characteristic of classic design. When you say
Sure.
classic design,
Sure.
what is it?
Okay, okay. So you know what? I mean, this is transitional classic, because if you see the top element there that looks like a crown molding,
Mm-hmm.
even their crown molding is very clean, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So, but then we all know that it's a crown molding, so we all can relate to this as something that's looking modern, classic. And then
Mm-hmm.
from a distance, I thought that there were panels, but
Mm-hmm.
then wala pala. So it's so interesting because it still gives you the vibe of something very classical with the least element of classicism in it. They just
So
Mm-hmm.
put
it's
the crown molding, right?
Yeah.
parang transitional na eyes.
Yeah, it's more transitional. This one I
More
would say is more
transitional.
transitional. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost
yeah.
like just a nod to
Yes,
classical.
Parang it's
yes,
getting
yes,
there na.
Yes,
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
yes, yes,
I
yes.
get it.
It's actually a challenge for us sometimes because if you look, for example, at the Scavolini website, you'll see there's like 50 different models. and
Wow.
they don't really categorize it into classic, transitional, or
Galing.
modern.
Mm-mm.
That's
Smart.
like our job to more or less interpret, how we want to use it, right? As dealers,
Right.
they work with thousands of dealers worldwide,
Mm-hmm.
and I think when they create these models, sometimes it's for a specific market or country, but then here in the Philippines, because of the diversity and the artistry of our designers, we can actually use it for different applications.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brian. Okay, let's move on to our next photo. Maybe we can talk about like mixing materials.
hmm Um,
Hmm.
this one is still under the same model or collection, which is
Mm-hmm.
exclusiva. Um, and I think in this particular case, they're really trying to display or to present something that's really classic. If even if you look at the environment, um, the kind of flooring and the type of ceiling that they put to frame the kitchen,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're really trying to put this in a classic scene. Um, but then again, the cabinet doors in front in the island, there's no frame doors, so
Yeah.
it's plain lacquer.
Mm-hmm.
True.
What's interesting is the
The
cabinets at the
hardware.
back is made out of leather. So these
Oh,
are leather.
leather.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Nice.
luxury is also materials, right? I think
Yes, it is.
if you're
It's all
Definitely.
about
far, if you're like
materials.
yeah, if you're maybe like 10 steps away, you don't really understand what's different, right? But once you actually use the kitchen and touch and feel, you'll
Mm-hmm.
understand, hey, this is like a different kind of material. This is
Yeah.
a rich material, for example. Yeah.
Devil is
But
in the detail.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's
True.
this is more classic pala, no? Because there's a molding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
this one.
for this.
Let's go with let's move on to a more traditional
I
American
love this.
Yeah, that's
kitchen. This
it.
is
I love
cute.
this.
I I lived in the States for a while, and I think whether you're in the West Coast or in the East Coast, most kitchens actually look like this. So when you talk about
Yes.
classic, there's classic European, there's classic American,
American.
Mm-hmm.
there's probably classic Asian. I'm not sure, but like with this particular one, it's really for those people who are more inclined to come from the US, maybe from the States. They're used to a certain look, more
Very
country, more
Hamptons,
cozy,
no, Brian?
very Hamptons. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and I see a lot of people ask for this now. It's not
Mm-hmm.
a particular age group. It's across the board. So it's an interesting model for us now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I personally love this. This is like some of the settings of Nancy Meyer's, the movie Something's Gotta
That's
Give,
right.
where everything happens. I like that it's very cozy at the same time.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you get a lot of requests for an American kitchen, Miss Ivy,
Pretty
Miss
much,
Cynthia?
I know
Yes.
when they ask
Yes.
for the
Yeah.
California
Pretty
look,
much.
this is
Yeah.
what they want. Because they want kasi the
Or
warmth as well.
or the
'Cause-
East Coast. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. It's very cozy and homey,
yeah,
Yes.
but
and
still
the deep,
luxurious.
yeah, and because it's white, it's very clean, but at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, it just gives you that nice Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy
Happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Thanks, it gives you that
Happy
happy
turkey.
Thanksgiving
That's
feel.
right. That's right.
Yeah, I can imagine like yeah.
All right. Well, we let's take it to the next level, Brian. We want to know how to take it up a notch when it comes to the kitchen, and most of the time, it's about the appliances that you use. So
Mm.
there are some appliances that can still be applied in a classically themed kitchen, even if they're top of the line latest technology. Like, how do you put that together?
I think um, with Scavallini, we work with most of the brands out there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Even if the cabinetry is classical, like with frame doors or shaker doors, we still use the latest and greatest appliances. So I think it's really a matter of mixing and matching nowadays. So, for
Mm-hmm.
example, in this photo, that one was
Wow.
a
Wow.
traditional oven.
Wow, this is so nice.
Yeah. This one,
I love that
one,
food.
Is this a kitchen?
yeah,
Wow.
Wow.
this is actually a super modern kitchen, but I think I wanted to show the exhaust hood,
Yeah.
called the
Nice.
Interstellar.
Oh my
Mm-hmm.
We work with this company called Elica. They're also
Mm.
from Italy, and they actually make all the hoods in Italy and Germany. They and then the other brands, they just tag their name onto the appliance. But they have special models like this one that they carry exclusively. And I think a lot of in a lot of instances we find that the range hood is an eyesore, especially if it's on the island. Especially if your ceiling is super high, you have that thing jutting out from the ceiling like a chopstick, and we don't want that, right? This one acts as an art piece, like a lighting fixture, and also a range hood. So it has charcoal filters inside, carbon filters, and
Nice.
then once the smoke comes in, it goes out from the top with clean air already. So it's
Wow.
interesting, yeah.
It's so
Nice,
beautiful.
nice.
Really.
When you turn on the lights, it sparkles around your place.
The Swarovski.
Swarovski. It's made out of Swarovski. Yeah.
I just want to ask Miss Ivy, Miss Cynthia, what are your kitchen design pet peeves? Like, what are when you see them, you cringe, or it's like one thing you make sure, nope, that cannot happen in this kitchen. Like, what are your pet peeves? Like for Brian, it's, sometimes uh, an
Hood.
attractive range
Range hood. Yep.
hood. Um,
Oh, me? It's
any Miss Cynthia or Miss Ivy,
um,
any?
me, it's more what's inside, no? I mean, like,
Okay.
if you really are not organized, I mean, please tell the designer already. Because if you don't have anything nice, like I have a nice virtual background, see? All of those are curated. But seriously, if you really don't have things to display, just keep it covered. Because
Close
really,
it.
it will be an
Okay.
eyesore. Whether this is such an expensive kitchen behind me, but really, if what you're displaying, like if you display if you don't really care, maybe
Mm-mm.
your soy sauce is there. I mean, like if you just leave it to your staff to do it, and then they just put plates, that's my pet peeve, because you have such a beautiful kitchen, but you have to
Yeah,
finish it. I mean, you really have to follow through, no?
that's
So
right.
see behind me, perfect.
That's right.
Para,
This,
Nikki, parang
yeah,
expectation versus reality yata yun
Oo.
eh. I think
exactly.
it's also the same with closets, right? Like a
Yeah.
lot of the
Yes.
trend now is like closets with glass doors that are see-through. But I
Mm-hmm.
think, if your clothes are like all over the place, why would you get such a system, right?
Yeah, yeah. Might
True.
as well just, yeah,
Yeah.
close
The-
it on up. Okay, so we're moving to the living room where you can dine. But before we talk about that, I just want to ask Miss Ivy and Miss Cynthia, what are your thoughts on the open layout that is so I mean, everyone's doing it these days, but I've also been reading some articles from the States that, designers are all, no to open layout. Spaces should be, kitchen is kitchen, dining is dining. What are your thoughts on
Can can I just be candid?
Go ahead, please.
Okay, so we were doing a lot of model units, and one of the model unit, and of course in the model units, the trend now is open kitchen, right?
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Right? Yeah. So my thought bubble was, oh my God, the wife is traveling and the husband's watching a movie and Inday is in the kitchen and they're together for 3 days.
Valid concern.
pwedeng, pwedeng movie yan, Nikki, ah.
Oo nga eh.
Wedding movie.
But valid concern.
Plausible plot.
Yeah.
But it's very legit because, di ba sis, that's her workspace.
Lalo na kung walang auxiliary kitchen.
Exactly.
Because in condos, all you have is just that one kitchen.
Right?
And she's just doing her job, right, Nix?
That's right. So the answer is no. Let's put enclosures.
Kayo lang pwede mag-joke ng ganyan, Nikki. Ivy.
Oo nga eh. So may solution si Brian dyan. Actually, Bianca has a solution for that.
Great, great.
Let's talk about the solution for that. Let's divide the space. Brian, can you walk us through it?
No, I think later on we'll see like an example wherein there's really a room divider in the middle. This particular
Yeah.
one is against a wall, right? So it's to display stuff. I think it's more appropriate with what
Condos.
Cynthia was saying. Also, like
Mhm.
you have nice display items,
Yeah.
so
Mhm.
you can do something like this, right? But if your items are like mix match of different things, it's really difficult to
Curate it. Eh.
to create it. I think that's also very hard. Like to mix and match. What's your challenge there,
Mhm.
Cynthia? I'm sure most clients have their own stuff from the old house,
Yeah.
for example.
Yeah. But
Yes.
you have to respect what they have eh. Kasi
Yeah.
it's well loved eh. I mean,
Yeah.
they also bring it home, hand carry. So what we do na lang is we color code it. Para
Mm.
naman
Mm.
there's first of course we fix it. Kasi naman they really give us freedom to fix it. But just in case they want us to use their pieces and it's really a hodgepodge different styles, what we do is we curate it in such a way that it's per color, or if it's glass, it's all glass. Yeah. I mean, we make it
So the
pretty.
basic is really color coding. Yeah.
Yeah, color coding.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, like, how do you not make something chop suey,
Yeah.
especially when they started shopping without you and they already have all of these pieces that you have to work with.
Two confessions. At first, Ivy and Ivan, we were first starting. We would hide the liadro. We would hide the liadro. Talaga. And then it will come out again. So so we have a table, and then so all the liadros, ganyan. And then so we'll hide it first. And then when we go back to the lumabas ulit. So
Andiyan na
parang
naman.
we're getting the cues na talagang it's really special. And then parang kami ni Irene also, it was a learning experience. We were traveling kasi, during one of our travels in Europe, and we saw this couple really talagang tagal-tagal in the store, and they were like talagang, naman, they were so in love with the item. So parang sabi namin ni Ike, wow, who are we naman to edit, diba? Kasi
Yeah.
parang, I mean talaga, maybe they paid overweight pa for that, and they had
Yes.
carried. So, after that, kami very, talagang respectful.
But
Sila mga spots.
Pero close
since,
na.
since we have a caveat, the only reason we did that was there were 60 pieces of liadro.
Wow! 60 pieces collection
Museum na.
talaga. Oh my goodness.
And sometimes naman, there's big and then there's small.
Yes.
So, our best friend are acrylic sands. Parang we make it like groupings kasi minsan mukhang bilin. So, no. They have a huge house, so we're able to
Put it in its own corner
It's
without affecting the general
whole look.
aesthetic.
Yeah.
I see.
I have a question, Cynthia. I think in other countries, like interior designers are given like full autonomy to do your thing, right? But here in the Philippines, I think based on my experience working with hundreds or thousands of different people, clients here are more hands-on, right? Parang,
Yeah.
Because the community is so small, they're friends with this supplier, for example, or they know someone from this company, and they end up like choosing things themselves, right? So is there really a difference between working in the US and working here?
No, as naman we've been lucky, no, Ives. Pretty much, they give us carte blanche. It's just that sometimes there are certain objects that they really love, non-negotiable stuff. But then, after a while, because we bring things and then parang sila na rin mismo, parang, hindi na pala bagay, no? So we're like, yeah, hindi na.
Okay, so for all of you out there, the polite way to do is just set it up and then they will see, ay, hindi bagay.
Okay, noted. I will write that down. My notes.
Yeah. No, but no, in fairness, we really give it a chance. We put it in a vignette. And sila naman, when they really say, parang off na the color of my, my base. I said, yeah, sayang nga eh. It's the wrong color scheme.
Yes. I find that they're more hands-on when it comes to their personal spaces.
Yes.
But maybe living area, I believe that's something that they would entrust to the professionals more. So maybe we can look at this next photo from Bianca. This one is this is, well, since we're talking about entertaining and displaying things or hiding them.
Yeah, I think
Brian, maybe you can tell us how many liadros we can fit in this one.
this is a good compromise because you see that there's like open cabinets with glass, doors,
That's nice. And it's
um,
light
and
lit.
it's light. It has that wood backing finish that creates that effect of luxury. And then underneath the TV, of course, you need those shelves. In the catalog, they don't really put cable boxes and Apple TVs, but that's what it's for. In a living room, especially if you have kids, you have toys here and there.
Mhm.
So I think these drawers on the right or on the left, you can store those messy things. So I think it's a good way to compromise. So these are just some detailed shots to show you
How
guys.
nice the marble
Ganda,
behind.
ganda ng lighting.
At
Yeah.
saka the marble, no? Behind it.
Yeah, emperador.
Any
This is
living
luxury,
room,
guys. Look at the details.
clearly.
Yeah. I
That's
mean, it's
luxury right
really
there.
layering of the metal, the marble, and what's in front. Yeah.
Any living room pet peeves, Miss Ivy, Miss Cynthia, like things that you would rather they
Oh,
didn't put
wow.
there.
Oh
TV.
my goodness.
TV,
Wow.
okay, yep.
Ooh. Oh,
TV. Do you
you know,
go
one
ahead, Miss
time,
Ivy? Mm-hmm.
we spent so much money and the living room was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Amazing until the day we installed it. We should have taken pictures because the next time we visited, oh.
Oh,
Speechless.
speechless. Words cannot describe.
Words
She's still
cannot
in shock.
describe.
Oh no, what
I'm still in shock
happened?
after today. No, well, actually, I mean, kanya-kanya naman, di ba?
Mm-mm.
A very self-indulgent mother. All of a sudden, there was a teepee in the middle of our living room, and toys were all over, and little kids chairs, and oh my god! I just looked and I said hi, bye.
So do you find that having to, I mean, obviously, since we're talking about luxury and we're talking about clients who have the space, do you get a lot of clients who have a second living area? Because like
Yes.
we were actually able to make it fit in our home. Like we have a living room, but
And like
we
a
don't really
family.
entertain there.
Right.
There's another space
Yeah.
where it's like a cozier kind of seating
Yeah.
area. Is this something that you see often?
Mm.
Yeah, we
Yes.
do.
Yes.
Like we have a great room and then we have the cozier family room. That's
I
where
see.
the big TV is.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
In the
I see, I
family
see.
room.
Yeah.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pet peeve also somehow, it's hard if the exercise equipment somehow years later
yeah.
goes to the living room.
That's why you really need amazing architects and IDs to manage the space. Like you
But
really have
True.
to find a place for all of these things, no?
Yeah, you have to. You have
True.
to.
Well,
True.
speaking of space, let's move on to a more personal one.
Kwentuhan.
Let's move on to the bathroom. Ayan, sige. Parang this, the client can be a bit more specific and more hands-on. So, Brian, since we were talking about classic, traditional, modern, uh, does modularity have something more classic for those who
yes,
like the aesthetic
This
I
one.
think this one in the photo is the Baltimore bathroom. We saw the Baltimore kitchen earlier. So this one's
Yeah.
the American, designed bathroom, for example. So you see that mirror with the lights in between the mirrors
Mm-hmm.
with the classical details. Again, it's also functional. So these posts, it seems like it's decorative, but they're actually functional. You can pull them out to use them.
Mm, okay.
So
And then
I
you see.
guess it
Mhm.
matches. If someone gets a kitchen that looks like this, they probably want to have a bathroom that is consistent in terms of design, right?
Mhm.
Ivy.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
Miss Ivy and Miss Cynthia, I mean, classic is, I personally find it very feminine.
Yes.
So, have you encountered a client who wanted classical aesthetic, but I mean, you have the husband who
Ah,
is
yeah.
probably, wanting something more masculine. How do you find that middle ground?
We usually will color it gray.
Mm.
I see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm. Then
I
then
see.
then feminine silhouette becomes masculine. It becomes no gender bias. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The guys all of a sudden comfortable in it. Yeah.
Think,
Mm-hmm.
Nikki,
Mm-hmm.
if you watch yung mga Keeping Up with the Kardashians, ganun yung bahay nila, ganyan eh, di ba? And then
Yeah.
the husbands are so masculine, but then they're
Oh
so
my God, so
fast-moved.
masculine talaga.
Yeah.
Di ba? So there's
Yeah. Kasi sandali lang naman daw yung guys sa bathroom. Mas matagal yung girls. Mas
Right.
Girls
matagal
live in the
kami.
bathroom.
Yes.
Yeah.
True.
So we get to decide. Oh, so
Kala,
let's
kala ko sandali lang sila magiging asawa nung Kardashian.
wag naman, wag naman. Oh, sige, eto, let's move on to something that will probably appeal to the men. This is the Bianca Wardrobe.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so
Can
I
you
think
tell us more about this?
I was talking about this earlier.
Oh,
This is
nice.
the trend nowadays is to have glass doors to actually make your
Mm-mm.
space look like a retail space. But I think it's
Mhm.
Correct.
of course it's a challenge to maintain, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think most brands
It's challenge.
most brands actually in the market that are at the level of Bianca would have something similar to this. And I see a lot of houses,
Mhm.
adapting, this kind of walk-in closet.
Wow. Very nice. There's really
It's
a
so
place
nice.
for
Look, oh.
Yeah, you see
everything.
the
Yeah, that's
leather,
luxury. Look at the detailing, huh?
the
Yeah.
shelf is
Everything has a
made out of
space
leather, and
for
then you have
its
that,
own. Yeah. And look
accessory
at how it
drawer.
follows the shape of the watches.
Mhm.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's very bespoke,
Wow.
huh, Brian? It's so
Yes.
nice.
Bespoke, yes. Bespoke is a word that you hear when you talk about luxury. Now let's move on to something more transitional, something that's in between classic and modern.
I like this.
Maybe for someone who's not quite ready
Nice.
to jump
Nice.
into the modern bandwagon. Can you tell us more about
That's
the
nice.
kitchens that you have for this, Brian?
I think transition. We coined it transitional because it's in between modern and classic. That's how
Mhm.
I
we,
like this.
it's a
True.
basic terminology that we use. Of course, it's
Mhm.
loosely used. Um,
Yes.
Again,
Yeah.
Nikki, you were saying like sometimes the wives they want something more classic, and then the husbands want something super minimalist.
Yeah.
So we need to have a common ground, right? With these kinds of kitchens, you can have this kitchen, and then you can have a more modern bedroom, and it will still kind of fit into each other. Um,
Mhm.
Ivy, and Cynthia, I think we used a kitchen like this in one of your projects
At the
Ah,
Ritz, no?
yes.
at the
At the
Ritz.
At the
Ritz.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ritz.
yeah.
Yes.
This is more shabby chic. I think they created
Nice.
this
Mm-mm.
model for the London market.
Ah, yeah.
I
So
like
Yeah.
it. It's so quirky. I like it.
yeah,
Spot on.
Miss
parang
I yeah, go ahead, Brian.
so they mixed some industrial elements
Mhm.
with
Mhm.
some country elements. So it came out like this with the rustic handles and the vintage wood that's curving upwards. It's something unique also.
Yeah.
Miss Ivy, Miss Cynthia, how do you feel about appliances that are exposed?
You know,
Does
if it's
this
beautiful,
is
if
this
it's
luxury?
Yeah.
beautiful, I'm all
Mhm.
for it.
It depends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Me
If it's
too.
Okay.
beautiful, if it's a
Me too.
showstopper, yeah, highly
Yeah.
Mm.
encouraged.
Sure.
Because it tells a story, eh. You know how
Mhm.
like they become very proud of their kitchen and then they really show it off and it becomes a conversation piece. And it's
Mhm.
nice
Mhm.
because it's something that people enjoy doing. If if you really love to cook, and then you normally the heart of the house will become your kitchen because that's where you entertain. For sure, if the equipment look like that, yeah, highly encouraged.
Wag lang
Show
rice
off.
cooker.
Yan, dirty kitchen na yan. Rice cooker,
Oo.
water dispenser.
Wag lang water dispense.
Wag lang yung water dispenser, please. That's the pet peeve. That's our pet peeve talaga.
Balcony tapos may water
That's a
dispenser.
That's
Can
our
I just
pet
tell you,
peeve.
it's that blue
That's our
pa. It's
pet
that
peeve.
blue bottle.
Meron naman nabibili ngayon na cover.
Yes.
Now, us naman, we always tell them dirty kitchen.
Yeah,
Very
let me
dirty.
write that down. All right, let's move on to something more modern and more masculine.
Love it.
There you
This one
go.
is
So
nice.
sleek.
Oh, wow.
So I
So
think, Ivy, you were saying a while ago, if the wife wants something classic, then you change the color
Yes.
into something more masculine. I think this is a very
True.
good example um,
True.
of doing that. And then if you look at the setting, the ceiling is like a cement finish.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
so
This, I
it's
love modern kitchens. This
yeah,
I
Nice,
love.
it's in a
So nice.
modern house, but then the
love it.
detail is very transitional.
And I love
Love
the
it, love it,
stone.
love
I
it.
love the stone.
Love it, love it, love it. Yeah.
let's
Nice.
take it up a notch higher, Brian, and talk about the technology. Since we were talking about, appliances, if they're nice, keep them there. But yeah, so let's talk about, the technology
Oh,
that those
wow.
are meant to be seen.
Yeah. So
Wow.
Yeah.
so this one, when you're using it, it's actually jutting out like that. But then we have a video that we can show wherein
Great.
the hood actually tucks into the countertop, right? So when you're not cooking, for example, it's flushed, but when you're cooking, it goes up. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Nice.
It's a
Beautiful.
little challenging lang, in terms of the interior architecture here, because you want to duct it out.
Ah,
Yeah.
You
yeah.
want to push the
Mm-mm.
smoke out. So
Yes.
for some houses, if there's a basement, then this works out because
That works
the
out.
smoke
Oh,
goes
look,
down.
oh. Oh my God, the
Yeah.
smoke goes there.
Nice.
Ang
Nice.
galing.
I think this is also a good divider. So if example your dining room is exposed into the kitchen,
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
and then hindi naman matangkad si Inday, hindi siya makikita, di ba? It's gonna be covered by this thing.
Okay.
Yes.
So the
Concealed na
wives out
siya.
there,
Sudden
if you're
concealed.
if you're
Take note.
interviewing your cooks, 4-6.
4-6 lang yung height.
Brian, baka naman si Inday Italiana.
Ano yun? Mahirap na.
To match the Italian kitchen.
Yes.
Oo nga naman.
Baka it comes with the kitchen. Instead of Siri.
That's right.
Roberta.
Okay, how about this one, Brian? Speaking of dividing areas and concealing areas, let's move on to this
Oh,
this
this is
double-sided
Yeah. So
system.
ito medyo mag-hide and seek na kayo ni Inday dyan. 'Cause there's
Oo.
like certain holes where you can see her.
Tago
And,
na yan.
yeah, but I
Oh my
think
God,
it's
it makes it more exciting, Brian.
Oops.
so, so this is a Bianca system wherein it's from floor to ceiling. In the Philippines, the ceiling height is really not standard. I see some
Mm-mm.
houses that are
Iba-iba.
4 meters high,
Yes.
2.8,
Right.
3 meters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this one serves as a parang illusion. It's a divider, but you can still see through to the other side. The interesting part here is you can, kunwari nagtitipid ka, you can buy just one TV, and then in the next photo you see it flips into the other side, and then there's
So
like a
pretty
sculpture.
when it
motif.
flips.
Yeah.
Then there's art. Nice. Nice.
I
Oh,
find
nice,
that this would be good for much smaller spaces.
Yeah,
True.
like condos,
And
no?
and we were talking about that, Miss Ivy, Miss Cynthia, how
True.
I mean these days luxury doesn't always mean
Yeah.
square footage. It's sometimes it
True.
can be the penthouse of a condominium. Can we
Yes.
talk more
True.
about that? Like how do you make a small space luxurious still?
Right. Of course, first off, you try to the secret to doing a condo and for your clients loving you back is you always have to find hidden storage. So you always have to give them storage. So for instance, if Brian's furniture and what he offers can already deliver storage and it also can deliver partitioning, I think that's a good direction for a condo. So the mood picture that you showed a while back where there was the TV that moves like this. So it
Mhm.
allows you to store records, vinyls, books, artifacts. At the same time, I can see this being used in between to demarcate a dining room and a living room, right, sis?
Yeah.
In a condominium, yeah.
Mhm.
So the secret to designing a condominium is multi-purpose, and
Mhm.
as much as possible, anything that you do, make it aesthetically appropriate, that at
Mhm.
least it has to have storage, because
Yeah.
that is the biggest challenge of condominium living.
Dwellers, yeah.
Exactly.
Especially coming from a house, eh. They've
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
amassed so much already. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, and this next photo, I think it can also work with a condo.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah,
for
for sure.
sure.
Yeah, works
For sure.
definitely.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Do
I
you
think, yeah.
prefer? Sorry, go ahead, Brian.
No, I think this is also, very challenging in terms of design. If we go back to the previous photo, sometimes like in condos, and I've seen this a lot in the States, you have like a small office space, and then you have
Oo.
Yes.
you have the living room, right?
Oo nga.
Here,
Yes.
for most projects here, especially if it's houses, you have a separate room for the office, like the home office.
True.
Especially now with the current situation, everyone's working from home. But it's really difficult to implement something like this where you have that office space, because here in the photo it looks super clean, but
Yeah.
once you have the iMac, or the wires and all these
Yeah.
things,
Right.
how do
Yeah.
you how do you guys make it nice?
Yeah. True. War management for
Yeah.
sure. But this is a very good peg, huh? If you really pala wanted a home office that can double it, this see, this looks stunning.
Oo nga eh.
There's a place
Yeah.
to read, a place to work, and
Oo.
obviously
Sis, and they can also
there's
eat, ah. They can also
yeah,
double up as a,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Dining.
also
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I love the
Good
chair, ah. I love
good
the,
picture.
Mhm.
Very good picture.
Multifunctional. Let's move on to this bathroom. This is the Magnifica bathroom.
Mhm.
Brian, can you tell us more
So
about
so
this?
again, it's this is actually the counterpart of the Exclusiva kitchen that we saw earlier,
Mm,
the Magnifica
okay,
bathroom.
okay.
mm,
Again, the details to make it quote unquote classic is very minute. These small legs and the
mm.
intricate handles. These are just basic things, but then once you put it all together, it just makes sense. Yeah.
Let's move on to something more masculine. This is our last transitional uh,
Yeah.
walk-in closet.
hmm So
How
with
pretty the
Ah,
mirror.
wow,
with
look
this
at that
one,
mirror.
yeah, it has that etched glass, so
Nice,
it's
ah.
Wow.
not your typical wardrobe wherein there's a mirror, right? You have this design
Right.
that makes it
Right.
interesting. Yeah.
Mm,
And then for bedrooms, not everyone can have like a separate walk-in closet, so this one has an
correct.
integrated TV cabinet already in the middle.
Mhm.
Smart.
Would you say,
Nice.
Miss Cynthia, Miss Ivy, this is more, maybe more for like a bachelor's pad or
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say though
something
that
like,
that bright for here,
Yes.
especially in a country like the Philippines where
The mirror.
we're so feng
Yeah,
shui
yeah, I was gonna
sensitive.
say
The,
that. Yeah.
This will
the,
not fly, no? Yeah,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
will not fly.
the
Yeah.
mirror. Yeah.
It's not just feng shui, I think parang there's a urban myth na lalabas yung soul mo, 'di ba? Kung
Ah,
meron kang,
really?
wow.
'di ba, ganun
Exactly.
'yun,
Ah,
Mickey?
True.
right, right. Okay.
Wow.
Iba na, ibang usapan na, sorry.
Ibang
Kaya,
webinar na yan.
Dapat
Ibang
nagkakape.
webinar.
Kaya dapat nagkakape lang tayo sa peninsula eh. Hindi tayo dapat mag-webinar kung ganito yung topics nila.
it's for a
Itong
midnight webinar.
for an exclusive audience.
Stay tuned for the link.
Okay, well, we move on to modern. This is
Oh,
something
wow.
that we see this more. Yeah, Brian, can you walk us through this, please?
Yeah, I think that was an open closet with those frames in the middle. So again, it really depends on the type of client that we have. If they have the ability to organize something like this, it's really nice.
For
I
Mhm.
think,
men, it's talagang ano, bagay, no? Kasi they
yeah.
don't have as much clothes as we do.
Yes, and they stick to one palette.
Bianca did
Very
something
nice.
really, really interesting here, wherein they created these, panels or fillers in between each module to make it look more masculine. So it's
Mhm.
it's a small
Ah.
it's a small twist to the typical walk-in
Mm.
closet, but it gives a big impact. And then if you see the lighting,
Hmm.
it's integrated onto the left side of each
Yes,
module.
right.
Oh,
So it
okay.
illuminates across.
Okay.
Okay, let's
Hmm.
quickly get to the Gress kitchen so we can go to the
Oh,
QC project
wow. Oh, I
with
love those.
Atelier Almario. So this
So
is, sorry, is it Gress? Sorry, Brian, is it
Gress.
called
Actually,
Gress?
if
Okay.
you sorry, Nikki, I wanted to explain. So before this photo, there we had the, you
This
know,
is
this is
wonderful.
so modern.
Yeah.
Um, the modern category. I think we were talking about
Mm-hmm.
the three different categories. So the modern category for me, before when I didn't really know Ivy and Cynthia personally yet, of course I knew of them. I was actually surprised that when we started working with you guys, you would also do something along the lines of modern and minimalist. So
Mm.
it was actually a revelation for us. And especially now looking at Cynthia's home, it's super modern, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting for us. So this section actually shows modern as being a luxury item too. So
Mm-hmm.
I think the connotation less is more. Um, Here it's more about the material. So Nikki, you were asking earlier. This was the Gress material. It's actually a
Mm-hmm.
porcelain um, door, and then it continues into the splashboard and the countertop. So it's one material going up.
Wow. That's
So
crazy.
there's stone doors. They're super slim stone doors, so it's not heavy.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
long term, this will last you really long time. So
Mm-hmm.
it's as Ivy said, you really have to invest in the right
Front spending.
front spending. You invest in the right
Mm-mm.
materials. A lot of people come to me um, unhappy with their kitchen, and it's
Yeah.
only like 3 or 4 years old. So they
Mm-hmm.
would literally throw it away. They're
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to sell it to me, but I don't buy old kitchens. No,
Yeah.
that's it's
Why?
a true story. No, because they think that I sell kitchens, so it's easy for me to sell whatever kitchen,
Yeah.
but it's not the case, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Wrong person.
no, but it's really sad because if
Sad,
you
sad.
spend a certain amount and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you save a certain amount, but then after 3 years you throw it away, right? So
Yeah.
and
True.
then you go
You
to a more
spend
expensive
more.
one.
Mm-mm.
um, and then especially now with the situation, you don't want workers coming into your house when you live
Yeah.
there already, right? It's such a
True, true,
hassle. Yeah.
true.
All right, let's move on to a QC project with Atelier Almario. This is, maybe you can, without naming names, maybe you can give us a kind of like a brief background on this particular client.
Okay.
Very young couple na, eh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very young couple. Yeah.
Okay.
In what I recall was when we were doing this, it was the husband who was more into the aesthetics of the house, right?
Yes, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Because
So
he
we
loves
were
to entertain. He loves to
I
yeah,
see.
entertain. And I
we
think
were
he's a friend of
really
Brian. So Brian, you're always here drinking, no?
He loves he loves to he loves to drink. He loves to drink kasi laging lasing yan eh. Kaya sana nanonood sila.
Sabi ko pa naman,
yeah.
don't name names.
Bad news description lang.
Description.
No,
Yeah,
but
so
what's nice is what's nice is it actually adapted the outdoor architecture with the slats,
That's true.
the
Yes,
kitchen.
right. The
So
kitchen.
yeah.
Sure.
Did they
Yeah,
have
yeah.
specific requests for this?
no, I think
Like,
Nikki, they really love to entertain. They have a
mm-hmm.
lot of friends. The wife is a very good friend of my wife, parang since they
Mm-hmm.
were in
Mm-mm.
grade school. So we're really close to them. This is one of the first Scavolini kitchens that we did in the Philippines. And
Mm-hmm.
during this time, we really didn't have a showroom yet. So it
Oo
was
nga, Brian.
it
That's
was
true.
Right.
tiwala lang. So
Yeah, yeah.
Sabi.
we're really indebted to them, and we with friends kasi it's really about support and
Yeah.
Yes.
it goes both
Yeah.
ways, right? So we they entertain a lot, and
Yeah.
pre COVID we'd go here maybe every other week. Um,
Beautiful.
At saka
and I
parang
think
this was the first time open kitchen layout, no? So,
yeah, that's
was
their formal. That's
introduced.
the dining na eh, diba? It's the
Yeah.
dining room and the kitchen in one
Mm.
big room. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay,
So
let's move. Yeah, go
it
ahead,
was really
Brian.
a challenge also. I needed like guidance from Ivy and Cynthia to choose
Mm-mm.
the types of wood because I think you see a lot of
Mm.
different wooden
Woods.
elements,
Yeah.
Yes, true,
and
true.
it's so easy to go the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
True.
To mix the wrong
Mm.
ones.
Mix the
Let's
wrong
move
wood.
on.
Mm.
Let's move on to the Makati project
Mm.
with Atelier Almario.
Ah,
This
this
one
is so
is
beautiful.
very different,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but still so look at that. Wow. Can you tell us more about this particular client?
Oh, he's very well traveled.
Okay.
And this client will really front spend for
Mhm.
the best that his money can buy.
And
And
Mm-hmm.
he's
he's yeah, and and here it was the opposite. He was like, I discovered the kitchen I like. It's called Valcocini.
Yeah.
Can you please meet with Brian at his showroom? I'm like, sure.
And Bri, di ba, he's so well informed. I mean, really, he
Yeah.
researches and he knows each and everything about this kitchen.
Even the
Like,
specifications, right, Bri?
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
He said, I like this because of the following features. Yeah. And he really took his time. He really went around. And when he discovered this, he was so excited. In fact,
Yeah.
what Ivy was saying, he really introduced the product to us. He was
Yeah.
like, I found my kitchen. And we're like, okay.
Yeah.
It's easy when they know what they want din eh,
Yeah.
no?
With
True.
Valcocine, initially we were just doing Scavolini in the Philippines, and Valcocine is like another notch higher.
Yeah.
Higher
Scavolini is
part.
already high end, and then when you go
Yeah.
Valcocine, you're like, you're going Rolls Royce, or
Rolls Royce.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a
for sure.
different level.
Mhm.
And most of the clients who would go for Valcocine would actually see Valcocine when they travel. So,
Ah.
as you guys said,
Mm.
he's really well traveled. He sort of became like a mentor to me already. He told me this is his final house. I don't
Yeah.
know how true that
It's
is,
true.
but if it's
It's
his
very
final
true.
house, he really wanted to spend
All out
and
na.
invest and research.
Yeah.
He understood all the details. When he came to us, he already went to the Frankfurt showroom of Alcucine, to the Singapore showroom, Hong Kong showroom. He
Oh,
looked all over the world already.
pwede.
He knew what he wanted already, and it's also a breath of fresh air to work with someone like that, right?
Yes.
And
Sometimes
Yeah.
yeah.
sometimes it's
Yes.
so hard because when a client comes to us, they just give us a floor plan, and you can it's so difficult, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when a client is very specific and
Well
intentional,
informed.
well
Yeah.
informed, then it's easier for us to design. This is just a rendering, so the house is still
Mm-mm.
ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Yeah.
this morning you guys probably came from the site.
Mm.
So
Wow.
Thursday,
yeah,
Thursday site meeting.
All right, Brian, if we can breeze through the next few photos just so we
sure.
can
Yeah, I didn't want
see.
to delve too much into it already, but this
Okay.
is actually the inspiration for that kitchen. This is an actual
Yeah.
photo in
Mm-hmm.
Pordenone in the Valcocine headquarters.
Very nice.
With Valcocine, it's all about these, functions, materials.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yes, so this is distressed brass and Antalya stone, real stone.
Mm-hmm. And then if we can see the carcass, I think we have a
Yeah,
photo of that. There you
Wow.
go.
yeah. So this is
Imagine.
an interesting story. He chose this particular carcass. So he said, I went to the Frankfurt showroom and I saw that you guys can do a glass carcass. So so this is the best of the best brand. So it's really out
Yeah.
of this
All
world.
out.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
I think we have a short
We have a
video clip.
video, yeah, and
Yeah.
then we can, yeah.
And then we
I
can
want to
just
allot some time for the Q&A because
we have a lot of
yeah,
questions. We have a lot of questions.
Brian,
All
glass
right.
carcass. Amazing, huh?
Oo nga eh. Kaya pala
Wow.
mahal ay.
oh yun,
Wow.
yeah, it's kasi pero it doesn't make sense eh kung you get something like that para pwede ka mabaha. Hindi.
Yeah. Correct,
No,
right?
but it's really waterproof if you
It
Yeah, yeah.
see
is.
that. Yeah,
And it will not deteriorate. I mean, it's the pinakamatibay.
yeah. And the
Wow.
warranty of Valcochi is like 10 years. So they're really,
Wow.
proud of the product. So these are the
So
things.
this is the Italian who will come with the kitchen.
So obviously she's 5'6".
Yeah.
ang catch, Miss Ivy, Miss Cynthia, you have to pay for the swab test.
Yeah.
Yun lang.
I love it.
Wow. Look
Wow.
So
at that.
amazing.
Wow.
Repositioning of sockets.
Talk about
Yeah.
luxury.
And then you'll
Wow.
just, yeah.
That's luxury.
Quieter than a
Quieter than a
floating
floating
feather.
Yeah, those
Oh
doors are
my
up to 4 meters wide with a single door.
This is
Wow.
luxury. We should have just copied light and airy feeling.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Wow.
It's beautiful.
And this actually comes in different, like various designs, right? We have the Chalata graphic vitrum, Brian. I've
Yeah.
never seen this before.
So
If you can flash a photo.
yeah, so these are the masters. So they basically can put the design or the print of one of the masters into the cabinet
Wait, how
itself.
fun.
Lovely.
Yeah. So this particular
That's
one
fun.
is a bar. So in luxury, you talk about printing.
Nice.
Fun.
Most of the time, there's a man
Nice.
cave, and I think this is one of
True.
interesting pieces that we can put
Nice.
in there.
Nice.
I like this.
Nice. I
That's
love this.
cute. That's
You
This
can-
Oh.
is so quirky.
You can
Very modern.
you can design your own actually. It's
Nice.
handmade.
This is the ano.
Yeah, that's the
It's
process.
handmade.
Yeah.
Wow.
Of course, it comes in plain colors, and most of what we sell here are still plain.
But this is gorgeous.
Yeah, but I haven't encountered the client who would be as adventurous to create these designs.
So I have a question, Brian. For instance, because we're talking luxury. So for instance, this gentleman collects Ben Cab, and he said, "I want for my man cave to have my favorite Ben Cab reproduced because Ben Cab agrees." Pwede?
Pwede.
Wow.
We just need the high
Wow.
resolution, file, and we send it to Italy, and they
Wow.
do it manually. And actually,
Wow.
literally saw it that they were doing it.
Wow.
That's
there are-
nice. That's nice for
Great.
our clients. Ano. Yeah.
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 We should
Wow.
collaborate with
Great.
Ben Cab and sell it as a Ben Cab bar.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's
Ben Cabinet. No, I'm just kidding.
I
Ben
like
cabinet.
that.
Ben Cab.
Ben cabinet. All right, let's go back to the kitchen. We have a few more photos before we get to the Q&A.
Ay,
Getting more and more questions
beautiful.
Oh, wow.
coming in.
This keeps on
Wow.
getting better.
Go ahead,
Ooh.
Brian.
Again, this is an Elica appliance. I use this personally.
Elica.
Basically, it's the Nikola Tesla.
Mhm.
You probably have a short video that we can show wherein it's an induction cooktop. And then there's a hood in the middle. So the smoke will go into the middle of the appliance like this.
Wow.
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 Nice, nice.
Brian, you say you use this at home?
Yeah, we
You
use
have
this.
this?
Yes,
Wow.
but to be honest, it's good for everyday cooking. But
Yes.
once you cook something that's really smelly, we would
Goes
cook it in
dirty
the
kitchen.
auxiliary kitchen. Yeah.
Of course.
Mhm,
Oo.
mhm.
Oo.
Asian
But-
cooking is really different from European cooking.
Yeah.
European pasta lang kasi eh. They just do their pasta.
very simple, yeah.
and-
Not very
Powerful and
pungent.
silent. True.
Grabe ang quiet to. Kung ganun talaga.
Powerful and silent. Wow.
Odor
Odor
filter.
filter.
Wow.
Nice. And then we move on to the bathroom. So this one falls under modern minimalist na.
Yeah.
Mm.
So this
Yeah.
would be our usual bathroom designs. This was designed by Nendo, who's a Japanese designer.
Nendo?
Nendo.
Wow.
So he collaborated
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Scavolini and they created this particular bathroom design. Very minimalist. Key is the model, and key means wood and container. So you see these containers on the right side. Movable, you can put stuff inside it.
So that's part of the kitchen when you order.
That's part of the-
Bathroom.
Correct, that's
Banyo.
part of the bathroom.
Sorry.
Do you get a
No
lot of requests for a more Asian aesthetic, Miss Ivy, Miss Cynthia? Or not
Mix.
so
Yeah,
much. A
equal.
mix.
No, equal. Yeah, equal.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Because I know for a time it was all about
Oh, yeah.
Zen.
Yeah. Early 2000, no?
Yes.
2006. It was modern
That's
Asian.
true.
That's right.
Wait,
Everything's Zen.
Nikki,
But
you're
now,
right.
now
That moment
we're
was
asking
fast.
for now they're
Good to
asking
know.
for modern Filipino, which is
Yeah.
nice. Modern
Yeah.
Filipino.
Oh,
is
that's
nice.
nice. That's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
All right, and then we have a modern walk-in closet coming up.
Yeah, this is the last one.
I want this.
I know.
The the island here is very important. I think we design a lot of kitchens, and the island is important in the kitchen, but it's also as important here in the walk-in closet because that's
Right.
where if you're packing, for example, you just put it on top of the island, and it's easy for you to organize your things. Um, I think the highlight here is actually this island, and of course, if you're a shoe collector, we can do as
Wow.
many modules as possible on the right side.
Brian,
Miss,
what's
Miss,
the usual height? I'm sorry, Nikki.
go
What's
ahead,
the
Miss
usual
Ivy.
what's the comfortable height for you to be able to pack properly?
I think it should be. It depends also on the height of the person, but
But
the standard
normally
one would
standard
be like 85 to
eight
90.
eighty five to
Yeah,
90. Okay.
correct.
Thank you.
Mga
Parang,
36
parang
inches, 3 feet.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
slightly higher
Slightly
than
Like
my
a
more
body.
than
working
the
But
counter.
dining table.
Yeah,
yeah.
Tama, kasi, yeah.
Ah,
kasi
yeah,
you're
like
standing. You're standing up. Yeah.
tama, like a working counter in a kitchen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Miss Ivy, Miss Cynthia, do you find a lot of people scrimping on the walk-in closet because it's something that you don't really see, or
I know, no,
not?
it's important to
On
them.
the contrary.
It's their
On the
first,
contrary.
Okay.
in the floor plan, let's say, how much space will I get? Right away. And sometimes they steal spaces pa.
Yes,
this is
yes.
this is just a joke, but sizes of cabinets and walk-in closets can make or break a marriage.
That's a good.
Well,
I think that's a good question. Ilan?
I would have
Nikki.
to agree. I would have to agree.
I will
All right.
answer you. I will answer you, Brian. I know your question. Husband gets 30%.
30. That's
That's
big.
very generous.
Yeah.
Wife gets
Why, Nikki? Why,
wife
Nikki?
gets
We're
wife gets
80-20.
70%.
We're 80-20. That's very generous.
70-30, yeah. There's peace in the family, that's why.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you very much for definitely enlightening and fun discussion. Our audience members have been waiting for this, and so we're gonna be opening the floor for some questions, but I will start with my own. I
Okay.
just want to know, there are a lot of studios and practitioners. What do you think sets Atelier Almario apart from the others? Like, what are you most proud of in terms of, I don't know, maybe your work culture?
You know what? Seriously, it's skill set.
Skill set.
Seriously, it's when you hire us, we really maximize the full potential of your property,
Mm-hmm.
aesthetics wise, function wise, and for longevity. We can almost guarantee that 20 years down the line, you still are loving your place.
Yeah.
Even if it's, yeah, yeah, regardless of the look, the feel, it's the totality kasi. For
Mm-hmm.
us, we think in totality, from the interior architecture to the furniture to the comfort, and especially we tailor make it for you because we're such good listeners.
Yeah.
That's our best skill set, I think.
Yeah.
We really listen to clients. Yeah.
Miss Cynthia?
She said everything.
I concur.
I was gonna say timeliness. And also, yeah, because we listen to them. So they also have inputs. It's a collaboration at the end of the day. Because you also want to, actually listen to them because they're the ones who's going to live there.
Yes.
So their
Exactly.
inputs are really, really beneficial. So it's, so that's why nanganganak our projects. The kids will hire us, and then their guest home, their
Vacation home.
Vacation
vacation
houses.
homes, we
Yeah.
also get, yeah.
And then
I
their
see.
houses abroad. We also get.
Yeah.
Sure. Site visit in Paris.
And you know what? We're very hands-on, Nikki and Brian. They always see us. Yeah. It's not just like, we'll assign na lang all our
A team.
assistants. We're there every step of the way.
That's nice. All right, we have a question from Rick Gindap. She says, "Hello, Cynthia." Oh, a friend. Hello, Cynthia and Ivy. How
He's
do
a
you
very good graphic designer.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you for
We always
joining us
collaborate.
today. He says, how do you reconcile your own creative expertise with a potential client's taste that can be teetering on borderline tacky, especially that the client will be footing the bill and he'll assert certain things. And how do you deal with the decision in passe? Was there an instance when you had to walk away from a lucrative project? What will make you draw the line and say no?
Rick, I think that's autobiographical, ah. Parang I can almost hear advertising into your design, creative. Okay, okay, yeah. No, yes. Once in a while, you do walk away from a project
Mhm.
if there's really no mix, because sometimes there's love at first sight because you think, wow,
Mhm.
this is wonderful. But as the project develops, the chemistry is off. Then you just have to both agree to disagree and say we thought it will work out, but it's not working out. So
Mhm.
cut it clean. But then, that only happened to us once in a lifetime. So it's not often.
Mhm.
If we cannot charm our way, that's our skill set. Seriously, are
That's
you
really
sure
the
you won't regret it? I mean, come on. Yeah, okay. If that doesn't work, then we finally just cut to the jugular and say, okay, you want this. We're just telling you it's not gonna take it to the next level.
Mhm.
You have been warned. It is
Mhm.
our duty to tell you, if you want this, this is your house, this is your spend, but it's not going to take you to the next
Yeah.
level. You may not like it in the end. And if that still doesn't work, Rick, what do you
Thank
sayonara.
do?
you. Yes. Thank you and
Sayonara!
goodbye.
No, no, but
Yeah.
no, but
That
also to
really
add what
happened.
Ivy said,
Yeah.
si Ivy kasi, she works a lot, she renders a lot. So the design solutions are presented.
Mhm.
So everything, all the design solutions are in paper. Wala kaming pinapabakbak na wall. So
Mhm.
talagang all the thinking part is done on paper. So I think the clients appreciate that because they begin to understand that what they're gonna get, as opposed to maybe some other, designers
Mhm.
all over the world. I mean, pinapa-build na, and then when they go to the site, they see mali itong wall, pabakbak, ganyan.
Mm-mm.
But with us, we're very proud of that na wala pa kami napapabakbak na wall because
We
talagang
don't.
everything is studied.
Inaral.
Everything,
Inaral
mas yes,
talaga.
inaral
Oo.
talaga.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
So,
And
Nice,
we're very
nice.
humble. We're very humble because sometimes our clients, we also learn from our clients. Eh. So
Mhm.
if you
yeah.
already give an atmosphere where you, humility is there, that they know
Mhm.
that it's par for the course, that we can throw in all of our ideas here, and it's a safe space, then
Mhm.
the relationship just gets better. Because
And they
Mhm.
there are some
Mhm.
things,
collaborate.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yes.
more
Kasi
collaborative.
we're not intimidating. I mean, kasi we're not
Mhm.
like,
Mm.
you have to buy from this, you have to do
Mhm.
this, you have to do that. We're like, these are the choices you have. So sometimes they say 90% naman all everything, but sometimes they feel strongly about a furniture piece.
Mhm.
We listen kasi. We don't scare them away. Parang they're able to really communicate what they feel. So I think
Mhm.
that helps in the overall process.
But
Speak.
Nikki, I think
Mhm.
I think seriously what it is by the time they come to us, they already know naman what we do. Eh. So the
Yes.
chances of a disconnect in taste is
It's
parang
far.
Very,
malayo.
the odds are low. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes.
odds are low. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Which brings us to this next question, kind of like it's related to what we've been talking about. This one's from an anonymous attendee. What is your what is your design process? Do you ask for pegs from the client first, then work from there, or do you just ask them their preferences and then you start designing for their approval?
We always ask for pegs first, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because
And floor
why
plan knives.
and floor plan first floor
Floor
plan,
plan. Okay.
because that's the very first cure before pegs. Floor plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then when you solve the floor plan, that's when they say, wow, we went to the right people. I mean,
Yes.
even before showing an image, if you're able to maximize or do the wow in the floor plan, the confidence level zooms up because
Mhm.
parang, wow, really? This happened? This is my house? Wala ka pang pinapakita. And then, of course, after that, so really, yeah. So bring us your pegs, we'll see. And
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Nice,
Sis,
nice.
diba?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Parang
Yeah.
problem solving yung floor
Yeah.
plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Favorite yan ni Ai. Parang it's a
Yeah.
puzzle, the floor plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
my
it's even nice the
favorite.
first, kasi we're not selfish eh. The first meeting nga, parang nabibigay na ni Ayon lahat eh. Wala pang kontra.
Yeah.
We're like,
Parang,
Wait,
oops.
wait, wait.
Wait, oops.
That's right. Yeah, but that's crucial. Spacing is
Yeah.
so
Space
crucial to
plan.
design.
Mm.
This
Yeah.
next question is interesting. Anonymous attendee asks, is there a thing such as luxury on a budget?
Yeah.
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 Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Course. For
Affordable luxury.
sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Affordable
For
luxury.
us, ano, it becomes more experiential. Affordable luxury for
Mm-mm.
me is like the best bed sheets that you can afford.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that will make your life elevated for me
Mm-hmm.
is affordable luxury. I mean, like, kunyari, talagang you love to cook and you know that 100% of the time you'll be there,
Mm-hmm.
you will pay for that kitchen.
Mm-mm.
Diba? I mean, like, parang it's for me lang, it's budget. So, kunyari, 100%. Parang 80% of your budget, you put in the kitchen because that will make you so happy and you know that you will be there 100% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
That for me is affordable luxury. It's more experiential.
I guess it answers this question also, which is it advisable to have a luxurious kitchen, such as modularity, in a condo residence or in a small space?
It depends on what floats your boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're gonna
Mm.
spend a lot of time in it, why not? Like what Cynthia said, affordable luxury, it's all about budgeting and t- tiering up your priorities. Because for instance, for me, anything that touches my body, I will spend
Mm-hmm.
on. The thread count
Okay.
of my towels, the thread count of the no, the down pillows. Why not? Diba? It's
Yes.
affordable eh. It's not gonna break the bank. And right? All of us could enjoy it. I mean, why think that a 7-star experience is beyond your reach? What's a 7-star sleep? It's because you slept in a good bed, you were
Mattress.
given great sheets, and you
Yeah.
had choices for pillows.
And you
So
had scented
that's
candles.
and
That's
scented.
the
So
I will use this argument for my husband.
I
Yes,
mean,
yes.
you
Yeah,
go
it's
for the
anything
low.
that you think will pamper yourself, will give you
Mm-hmm.
bliss, will
Why
make your
not?
life
Diba?
happier
Would
and
spark
resonate well with
joy.
you. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
go for it.
luxury. Yeah,
Okay.
time with your
Go
kids,
for
that's
it.
luxury. And of course,
Go for it.
Atelier Almario designed homes and modularity home kitchen.
Ah,
Full
This one
luxury.
I like this question. This is from an anonymous attendee. She says, for young designers, how can we develop a good eye for proportions?
okay. That's my favorite question. Um, that in itself makes me happy that she's asking it. Eh. That
Mm-hmm.
means she's already aware,
She's conscious.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
conscious of proportions. You should go to hotels,
Mm-hmm.
right? Any new hotel that opened, investigate and see why. Because a hotel will give you all the variables in scale. You're
Mm-hmm.
going to see the 4-story high lobby volumes. You're going to see compressed spaces in restaurants. And then we're never shy, Cynthia and I. We always go to the front desk and we always ask very nicely to see a room. And then we always say, for our relatives, when they right? So I encourage all of them to see the rooms, the suites, the everything,
Mm-hmm.
because then you see the whole spectrum of how scale is applied. The
Mm-hmm.
human scale, the volume of ballrooms, and and that's what all we do. It's all eye candy. You're always studying, studying, studying,
Mm-hmm.
and you always measure it against your own ergonomics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 We're very good na nga eh. Kasi sometimes, di ba, you wanna, we're like, okay, it's in my waistline.
That's
When we
right.
try
Or
to
this one,
measure
this is
what we like, we're
1.8.
like, okay.
Correct.
And then Ivy nga is like, okay, am I in the picture? No. when we get details, am I in this picture?
Yeah. But it's really just exposure, no? Expose yourself.
Exposure,
Mhm.
And next
exposure.
also also the reference books, like buy the Christian Liag book kasi he's a
Mhm.
master in proportion. I mean all
Mhm.
of the design icons, Patricia Orquiola, kasi all everything like for me, I find a mentor that you can learn from, and
Mhm.
really study, keep on learning, because that's the only way you can actually master anything.
That's right.
And
Okay, we have a question. This is this difficult? Okay, might be difficult for Brian because he will probably answer. Depend on all. But the question is, to make a small space, 59 square meters to be exact, look luxurious and functional, what would you recommend I spend more on? And she also says, love this. You're all so lively. Thank you for tuning in, and I'm happy to know you're enjoying the conversation. But so yeah, so what do you recommend that she spend more on?
That's really a very personal, question. Really
Mm-hmm.
depends on the priority of the
Mm-hmm.
person. 59 square meters, it's probably a studio apartment, right?
Yeah.
With Scavolini, they came up with what they call the Box Life program,
Mm-hmm.
or collection, and they collaborated with HOK, which is one of the bigger architectural firms
wow.
in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And they created that program specifically for spaces like this, where it's multifunctional. There's a bed that's embedded into the wall, and then you can pull it down, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Or the kitchen and the laundry is on one wall, and then you can tuck it all in. So,
Mm-hmm.
but it's of course it's made for first world countries. So I think that's the disconnect. Here
Mm-hmm.
in the Philippines, the budget is not as high as people building or renovating homes in New York or in Singapore. So I
Mm-hmm.
think it's really a very personal question. If they, as Ivy said, if they prioritize um, cooking, for example, then they should put a really nice kitchen, right?
Yeah.
That's luxury for them. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a salesman per se, so when I talk to clients, I really try to understand, how long are they going to use this space for? Sometimes people buy condos and they eventually sell it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you have to
Yeah.
add that level of dimension. In doing business, you have to be very passionate and very honest about it, right? So
Yeah.
when I talk to a client and I try to understand, how they're going to use it, it's a better way to find and analyze a good answer for them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so you can reach
Okay.
out to us. We'll help
Yes,
you out.
we will be flashing the details on screen in a bit, but maybe we can do just one last question before we go, which is what was the hardest project you've ever tackled and why? So I don't know if this will be the same project for both Miss Ivy
Oh,
and Miss
oh,
Cynthia,
this
or
is so
if they're
funny. This is a real story. This is a real story. It's so
okay.
funny. This is so funny. Yeah. Well, our hardest only in the beginning because we didn't know what we were doing was a friend of
Mhm.
ours said, okay, my friend in Hong Kong has a boat for you to design. Okay. And come to my house. I'm going to walk you through what you need to know to design a nice yacht. And we said, sure, fine. We had a short conversation with him. He opened a few books. Okay, all the corners have to be rounded. And
Yeah.
just remember, if there's a wave, mahuhulog ang
Mhm.
tubig. And okay, you're all set. You fly to Hong Kong and you're boat designers. Okay, we're boat designers.
But it's a big boat, no?
It's
It's
a yacht, yeah.
a
Okay,
hand.
just
It's a
go,
yacht.
yeah. So it's a boat, yeah. So,
Is it
so
this
Cynthia,
one? Is
Yeah.
it the Lady
yeah,
Candy? Okay,
the lady.
okay.
And Cynthia and I, we took our Dramamine, and then we took the dinghy, we went to his first boat, and then sis, what happened? We got
Oh my
seasick.
God. They were frying because, from Hong Kong, they were frying. They had a chef. They were frying fish. And all of a sudden, both Ivy and I had motion sickness. And we're like, we couldn't join them for dinner. We were,
Oh
we could, yeah, we were like really, but we already took our Dramamine and stuff like that. So we were very confident that we will be able to, have a meeting. But
no.
and the boat was even docked.
Oh my goodness.
But when they started cooking, I was like, oh my God, oh
Oh
my
my God, oh
God.
my
It's
God,
like
oh my
being pregnant in your
God.
first month. It was like,
Oh
no.
my God.
Oh no. So
Yeah.
does that mean that was the first and last boat?
No. This is our
Oh, okay.
second. This is our second
So,
boat.
Oh, okay.
so long story
From
short,
100 to
we did
150.
we did two boats for him. Yeah. But that was just, our a real story of fake it till you make it. We're like, yeah. But then we failed the first test. We weren't sailors. He's like, you design boats, you can't even be in one for 20 minutes. Get us out of here! Get us out of here!
And they're like,
Oh
join
my.
us for dinner. We're like, oh, no.
Can't keep anything down, no.
Yeah.
Definitely one for the books.
2 boats later. Yeah.
Two boats
Oh
later,
my
yeah.
Still get
goodness.
seasick.
Well, thank you very much once again, Miss Ivy, Miss Cynthia. It was such a
Thank
pleasure
you.
picking
you
your
also.
brains and speaking with you and hearing all about your adventures and misadventures and, just all of the things that you have had to go through to get to where you are right now. Just one of the few people that aspiring designers really look up to. So maybe you can just, I don't know, maybe share with us a last few, just a few words before we go. Just maybe a word of encouragement to I know we have a lot of
Sure.
students tuned in. So yeah, Miss Ivy, go ahead.
Yes. If interior design is your passion and you can't live without it, congratulations. It's one of the most fulfilling things I've done in my life. I'm an interior designer by nature and by nurture, and I welcome you to the club. It's a great club to be in.
Wow. Wow, bakit ako nagka-goosebumps? Feeling ko naman, hindi pa ako nakaka-graduate. Wow. Thank you, Miss Ivy. Miss Cynthia.
I love lifelong learning. So I encourage everyone to try. Don't be afraid of mistakes. That's the only way you can learn. And then, keep on finding mentors, keep on finding idols because they really encourage you until you find your voice and find out your why. Why am I doing this? Why do I love this? Why? Be authentic, be real to yourself, and then everything else will follow. On that happy note, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Really blessed and grateful for this, Brian and Nikki.
Thanks, Cynthia.
Thank
And all the
Thank you,
behind the
Brian.
scenes,
Thank you,
Jersey and
Nikki.
Jackie, and Denise
And
Lansanan from
Denise.
Atelier Almario.
Atelier
Thank you very
Almario.
much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
To the audience, thank you
To
so
the
much.
audience, thank you. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Natalie. Natalie's here.
Once
Nat.
again, that's Miss Ivy Almario and Miss Cynthia Almario of Atelier Almario. Of course, we also have to thank Modularity Home for bringing us together. They are the reasons for why these conversations just get better and better each time, more exciting, more insightful. So, Brian, anything you'd like to say before we wrap things up?
Sure. I wanted to say thank you to everyone who's watching today. This is live. We took up 2 hours of your time. We hope you learned a lot, and we hope you enjoyed the conversations that we had and the pictures we had to present. Thank you. Thank you so much for the support. Nikki, thank you again for being our host today. You're the perfect match for us because you have that star power, but at the same time, you have that, design background. So I think it's a very good mix for us. Ivy and Cynthia, I always look up to you guys, and I know how busy you guys are. We enjoy this whole process of organizing it and actually doing this talk with you. So thank you so much
Thank
again.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Miss Ivy, Miss Cynthia, and thank you to our audience. Actually, we had a lot of questions asking for how they can get in touch with Modularity Home and Atelier Almario. So those details are flashed on your screens right now. And also for those of you who sent in questions that we weren't quite able to get to, don't worry, they did not fall on deaf ears. We will have someone reach out to you to attend to your inquiry. And yeah, so once again, thank you for joining Mod Talks. Brian, thank you. Miss Cynthia, Miss Ivy, thank you so much. To our audience members, I hope you learned a lot from today's episode, and we look forward to seeing you again at our next one. Meanwhile, this has been your host, Nikki Hill Albert. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.